Have you ever met someone where the connection just feels electric? Almost immediate? It's this intense, overwhelming rush of attention that makes you feel like, wow, you finally found the one.
And you start hearing things like this, right? And it is completely intoxicating. They're showering you with praise, texting you nonstop, making you the absolute center of their universe. It's a total whirlwind, moving faster than anything you've ever experienced before.
But that's the big question we're going to tackle here. Is this that once-in-a-lifetime movie script connection? Or is there something else going on just beneath the surface, something a lot more calculated?
Okay, so let's really dive into this feeling. It's powerful, it's euphoric, and it feels so real. But to truly get what's happening, we've got to look past the romance and peek under the hood at the mechanics of the mind.
Because what can feel like fate is, a lot of the time, a really well-documented psychological process. This isn't about two souls magically finding each other. It's about a systematic process that's literally designed to hijack your brain's most powerful reward system.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty science of what's actually happening inside your head when you're on the receiving end of this emotional fire hose. It really all comes down to brain chemistry.
And there's a clinical term for this, love bombing. And you got to notice the keywords here, excessive and to gain control. The entire purpose isn't to build a real mutual connection, it's to create dependence and to do it fast.
So understanding the difference here is absolutely crucial. Healthy affection, that's like a marathon, right? It's all about building trust and a real connection over time. Love bombing, that's a sprint. It uses this overwhelming intensity to completely bypass that slow, steady process of really getting to know someone. The goal is totally different, and honestly, the pace is the biggest red flag you'll see.
Now this is super important, because it corrects a huge myth. We always think of dopamine as the pleasure chemical, but it's actually more accurate to call it the anticipation chemical. It spikes when our brain predicts a reward is on its way, and that's what drives us to seek it out again and again and again.
And this is where the manipulation really kicks into high gear. The love bomber basically uses your own dopamine system against you with a technique that has been perfected by every single casino in the world.
It's called intermittent reinforcement. Seriously, just think of a slot machine. You pull the lever, you don't win every single time, you win just often enough and at totally unpredictable moments that your brain becomes obsessed with the idea of pulling that lever just one more time. It's the unpredictability that creates an incredibly powerful, almost unbreakable craving.
And here's how that exact same cycle works in a relationship. First, you get that intense affection. Boom, huge dopamine hit. Then, out of nowhere, it's withdrawn. They get cold, distant, and that creates deep anxiety and craving in you. All you can think about is getting that good feeling back. And then, right when you're about to lose hope, they reward you with a little bit of affection again. The feeling of relief is just immense, and it conditions you, it trains you to put up with the bad stuff just to get another hit of the good. You're not addicted to the person, you're addicted to this cycle itself.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit and see how this addiction cycle fits into the bigger picture of a manipulative relationship. It's all part of a very predictable and very destructive pattern.
It always starts with idealization. You are perfect. You are the answer to everything. But of course, nobody can stay on a pedestal forever. So eventually, the devaluation begins. Little criticisms, emotional distance, things that make you feel like you've done something wrong. And this keeps you constantly scrambling to get back to that perfect beginning. And in the end, for many, it leads to a complete and total discard.
This table just makes the difference crystal clear. A dopamine-driven bond feels urgent, anxious, obsessive. It's built on a foundation of intensity and unpredictability. Now, compare that to a healthy, secure bond, which is driven by the hormone oxytocin. That feels calm, secure, safe. It's built on consistency and trust. You see the difference? One creates chaos, the other creates stability.
So you might be asking, why are we so vulnerable to this? Well, it's deep biology. Brain scans show that social rejection, like when someone suddenly withdraws all that affection, it literally lights up the exact same areas of the brain as physical pain. Your brain interprets their coldness as a real physical threat, and it will do anything to get relief from that pain.
Just understanding this mechanism, just seeing the game board, is the first and most powerful step to weakening its grip. So now, let's talk about how to protect yourself and how to break that cycle.
First things first, let's get one thing straight. This does not just happen to people who are weak or insecure. In fact, manipulators often specifically target people who are empathetic, strong, and capable, people who are willing to work hard to fix a relationship, who see the good in others. It's very often your strengths, not your weaknesses, that make you a target.
So this is your toolkit. These are the protective factors to look out for. Pay attention to the pace. Is it just too much too soon? Look for consistency, not just moments of intensity. And this is a big one. How do they react when you set a simple boundary? But most importantly, trust your own body. Does this connection feel calm and safe in your nervous system, or does it feel like chaos? You have to evaluate their patterns of behavior, not their pretty promises.
Ultimately, while being aware of the game is your shield, the conditioning only loses its power when the reinforcement, that intermittent reward, stops completely. It's just like with a slot machine. The craving only goes away when you stop pulling the lever. Breaking the cycle usually means breaking contact.
And I really want to leave you with this final thought. A secure, healthy love is built on a foundation of stability and trust. It doesn't rely on confusion or anxiety or making you desperately crave affection. Real love is steady. It never ever requires you to earn back the validation that was once given so freely.